Sweden are 2-1 outsiders. England coming in at 5-2. Big favourites. But before we talk about the game, I just want to talk about everything that is kind of happening and snowballing, if you like, in England. You must have experienced a bit of that during Euro 96. As a player, like, how much are you aware of it, and how much do you have to be careful not to get too carried away with it?
Well, they'll be aware of it, of course they will, because anybody who's associated with the England team, wives, girlfriends, aunties, uncles, they're in the newspapers, which is a joke anyway. How shall they not get carried away with it? Absolutely not. They're miles away from winning the World Cup. Absolutely miles away. Yes, they've qualified. They've got this, penalty hoodoo off their backs to a certain extent, and now they're going to have, 3 equally hard games if they are to lift the World Cup, and these games will only intensify in getting more difficult in the level of play. And England do have to improve. We keep on saying it. It's good to bring people back down to earth. They've only beaten Panama, Tunisia, and Colombia, and a poor Colombia on penalties. So we all want them to succeed, but there's still a long, long way to go with better teams to face.
Well, not all of us do. Oh, grumpy pants in the corner there.
Well, I never said that. I never said a word.
Don't want England to succeed?
Steve, if you're Southgate, how much do you play on this and all the euphoria that's going on, and how much you need to dilute it to calm it down?
I get the impression that even before this tournament started, he had everybody on quite an even keel. And I think he'll just be sending the same message game after game. Don't get carried away. And he'll have done something similar after the Belgium game. He'll be saying, look, OK, we've lost the game, but, when we won, we didn't get carried away. Now that we've lost, let's not get carried away either. And you saw against Colombia how they kept their heads, and they actually kept on an even keel. So I think that'll be the easiest job that he has, keeping them on an even keel. The hardest job is going to be getting them to beat the teams that are remaining in this tournament.
And of course, that first team is Sweden, where you know exactly what you're going to get, really. There's going to be no surprises from this side.
No surprises. 2 banks of 4. You've got 2 up front in Toivonen and Berg. They're not going to surprise you with anything, but at the same time, they're very good at what they do. They're going to get numbers forward, Forsberg and Klaassen on the wings, only when they have to. Other than that, they're not going to gamble. They're not exceptional at anything going forward, but they are very good and well disciplined at the back. The other concern for England going into this one is there's a huge height difference between the Swedish team and the English starting 11, or what you expect between the 2 starting 11s. And England have conceded set pieces against Panama, conceded a set piece again later against Colombia. If Sweden are to win this game, that's where you feel they have the advantage. How you match up and how you pair up is the challenge for Gareth Southgate, because again, given the high differences, it's not an easy fix.
This would be my starting 11, because I think he'll pick the same team if everybody's fit. I think he will revert back to type. I've only changed 2 people. I put Danny Rose in for Ashley Young, only because I don't think Ashley Young's done a lot wrong, but I just prefer a left footer on the left-hand side of the field. I don't like Ashley Young chopping back onto his right foot all the time, and I think against Sweden you're going to need these type of width and these type of crosses. And I put Loftus-Cheek in there instead of Dele Alli, because I don't think Dele Alli's playing at his best. I don't know whether he's fully fit, and also, as Shaq has just addressed, I think he's a bit stronger, a bit more physical, and I think he'll help out a little bit more. I've still got Lingard and Sterling and Kane there, for a bit of speed and hopefully a bit of creativity. I haven't changed too much.
Would you agree with this, Stevie? Would you make those changes?
Yeah, I think so. I think defensively they're good changes, which I think they have to think about against the Sweden team. The big difference between these 2 sides for me is one's got an identity, and one we're not quite sure yet still what we're going to get. So. And again, the first question you asked was about the hype. This has got England failing written all over it again. Because if England don't beat Sweden, every single person in England will be saying, oh, we can't even beat Sweden. So this has got all the hallmarks of a classic England defeat.
You'd sometimes rather than play a better side, wouldn't you, than sort of this.
Why did you smile when you say England defeat?
You know what he's like.
Yeah, I saw that.
But there's some football to talk about. It's Brazil against Belgium tomorrow in the second quarter final. Brazil 4-7 on Belgium 11-8. Shaka, it's very hard to put up any sort of argument as to why this game shouldn't be brilliant.
It will be. This is a Belgium team that concede goals, as we saw against Japan, that are very good going forward, even without Lukaku showing up. Again, against Japan, they get 3 goals. And you look at Brazil and their balance from back to front, and I think it's exciting. I think this team has gotten better, and rightly in as favourites. The only way Belgium win this game is to absolutely have a go at Brazil at the top end. You do that at your absolute peril, there's got goals written all over this one.
This is it. You know, we were talking yesterday, weren't you, boys, and you were saying, you know, the best game was probably France-Argentina or Spain-Portugal. There's every reason why this might eclipse those.
It's kind of impossible to think that Belgium are going to play any other way than go forward. And the fact of playing against the best side in the tournament, who are better than anybody else going forward, but actually have as good a defence as almost anybody else. That means big trouble for Belgium. This could be a 4-3, but could also be a 5 or 6-0 job.
Really?
I can't see how Brazil don't put the ball in the back of the net 2 or 3 times. Just, you know, I don't see Martinez changing the way he's set up. You know, 3 at the back. Defensively has been a disaster for them. I don't see him changing it, and that means that going against a side like Brazil, you're asking for trouble.
Do you agree, Matt?
No, I think it'd be a lot closer, actually. I've picked Belgium to win the game.
Have you?
Yeah. Just because I think that their forward players will have a lot more space. De Bruyne, Hazard will have a lot more space against Brazil, and I just fancy them to beat Brazil, I do.
Who are you backing?
Brazil. I don't see how Belgium get the better of this Brazil team. I just think they're too stacked from back to front. And as much as Roberto Martinez has kind of made his career on cup competitions and winning games in the dying stages of league campaigns, this is just a step too far. This is just far too talented a Brazil team. A team that's only conceded once, as Stevie said, and that was under contentious circumstances against Switzerland. I just don't see it.
Who are you going for?
I've just said they could get beat 5 or 6-0, so guess what?
Well, people
Brazil.
People may not be listening.
It'll be interesting.
Like you.
It will be interesting to see what Roberto Martinez does with his team and whether he changes from this 3-5, whatever one you call it, at the back to go 4 at the back, because they really struggled last time against Japan. And we know that Brazil will play with 1 up front. So why have 3 centre defenders when you've only going to mark Gabriel Jesus? So it'll be interesting to see what he does.
Brazil, you sure? Final answer?
You get back to me on that one.